Hi, this is Mrs. Wiederholt, and I want to welcome you to my video on solving systems of equations with matrices. Now let's get started. Matrices are another way to solve a system of equations using the TI-84 calculator. Now to do this, equations must be in standard form, which is ax plus by equals c. And the third thing to know is that there are three matrices that you will use to set up the equations: the coefficient matrix, the variable matrix, and the constant matrix. Now when you are setting up these equations to solve with matrices, you will actually show the brackets. The first pair of brackets will be the coefficient matrix, where you will be placing your coefficients. The second bracket, or the second pair of brackets, will be for your variable matrix, and in our case they will have an x and a y. And then the third brackets will be for your constant. Now let's do an example together. In example 1, we're going to use 3x minus 11y equals 4 and negative 2x plus 6y equals negative 7. Now if you notice, both of these equations are in standard form, meaning we have a coefficient times x, and then minus a coefficient times y equals a constant. And then the second one is the same way. Coefficient times x plus a coefficient times y equals a constant. So in our first pair of brackets, we're going to put the coefficients. Now I'm going to use the coefficient that's in front of x in the first equation, which is 3. And then I'm going to use the coefficient in front of y, which is negative 11. And then I'm going to go down to the second equation and use the coefficient of that x, which is negative 2, and the coefficient of y, which is 6. Next, we are ready for our variable matrix. So for my second set of brackets, I'm going to put an x and a y, because those are the two variables that I'm using. And then third, we're going to set up our constant matrix. And so that's going to be 4 from the first equation and negative 7 from the second equation. Now let's look at our calculator steps so that we can solve this equation. First, you'll turn it on, and as you see, my batteries are low. But you will first go to second, matrix. Now the matrix button is the inverse key. It's the x to the negative 1 key. So you hit second matrix, and then we will right arrow over to edit and hit enter. Now, because my first matrix, the coefficient matrix, has 2 rows and 2 columns, we will call this a 2 by 2. So you're going to enter those dimensions first. 2, enter, and 2, enter. Now you're ready to start entering the coefficients from your equations. And I'm going to start with the coefficients of the first equation. I have 3, enter, negative 11, enter, negative 2, enter, and 6, enter. Now negative 2 and 6 were the coefficients in my second equation. Now after we do this, we're ready to hit second, quit. And you know what? We're not ready to hit second quit yet. I'm sorry. We're going to do second matrix again. But this time we have to prepare the matrix for the constants. So I'm going to right arrow to edit, and then I'm going to go down to B. So this will be our second matrix. Now, we're looking at the constant matrix, which is the one that has our 4 and negative 7. It's the third matrix that you've written. And so that is 2 rows by 1 column. So you will enter 2, enter, 1, enter. It's a 2 by 1. Now I'm ready to enter those 2 constants, 4 and negative 7. Now I'm ready to hit second quit, because now I'm ready to solve, to find my solutions. So I go back to second matrix, and now I'm just going to hit enter because it's at number 1, which is the A matrix. And then I'm going to hit the inverse key, that x to the negative 1 key. And then I'm going to do second matrix again. but this time I'm going to go down 1 till I'm at matrix B. I hit enter, and I hit enter one more time. Now you see I have two solutions. The top solution is the solution for x, 13.25. The bottom solution is the solution for y, which is 3.25. Now let's do another example. Now in example 2, we have two equations, but neither one of them are in standard form. If we look at the first one, we see that we have 9x plus 6y minus 3 equals 0. All we need to do is add 3 to both sides, and we will have that one in standard form. So let's do that. We've got 9x plus 6y, and again I said I would add 3 to both sides. So that's going to equal positive 3. Now in the second equation, we actually need to take 3y and subtract it from both sides, so that's now on the left side of the equation. And if we do that, then the second equation will also be in standard form. So let's do that now. I've got 4x, and if I subtract 3y from both sides, I would have minus 3y is equal to 2. So now I have both of my equations in standard form. Now I am ready to enter this information into my matrix. So my first matrix is the coefficient, and I'm going to put the 9 and the 6 from the first equation, and the 4 and the negative 3 from the second equation. Next, I'm ready to write my variable matrix. I'm using x and y. And in case you're wondering, this is a multiplication sign. Okay, so now let's move on to our third matrix, which is the constant matrix. And that matrix is going to have the number 3 and the number 2. So that's what it's going to look like on paper when you set this up. Now we are ready to enter this into our calculator. Okay, our first step is to set up the coefficient matrix. So I'm going to do second matrix, and then I will right arrow to edit, and then I will hit enter. Now remember, you can pause this video after each step if I'm not going slow enough. Now back to our first matrix. We have the coefficients 9 and 6 and the coefficients 4 and negative 3. This is 2 rows and 2 columns, so it is a 2 by 2. So I'm going to make sure that I have 2, enter, and 2, enter. And now I need to type in my new information. If you can see my calculator screen, it has the information from the last matrix that we did. So make sure that you don't just automatically use those numbers, okay? So this one's going to be 9, enter, 6, enter, 4, enter, negative 3, enter. Okay? Now we're ready to do the information or put in the numbers for the constant matrix. So we're going to hit second matrix, right arrow to edit, and go down 1 to the B matrix or number 2. Again, this matrix is 2 rows by 1 column. So we will make sure that it has 2 for the rows, enter, and 1 for the column. And now we're ready to enter our new information, which is 3, 2. So 3, enter, 2, enter. Okay, now we're ready to solve, so we'll hit second, quit, and then we will hit second, matrix, and just hit enter because that's matrix A. You will then hit the inverse key, which is that x to the negative 1, and then you will hit second matrix, arrow down to B or number 2 and hit enter, and then enter one more time. Now in this example we have a number with a lot of decimals, so this would be an example of rounding it to the nearest hundredth. So our first answer, or answer for x, would be 0.41, and our answer for y would be negative 0.12. Now, I hope these two examples have helped you to learn how to solve systems of equations using matrices. I look forward to working with you again. Bye-bye.